What's going on, everybody? My name's E.T. Bogrand, and today I'm going to be showing you how to put pads on your new skimboard. So first off, I'll show you my new board. It's a 53-inch Mr. Incognito, like I always ride. This one's a little bit different though. The thickness is right in between a 5/8 and a 3/4, and I figured I'd give it a try because I've ridden both of those, and I feel like right in between is where I want to be at. So here's the top. Got the new 2020 logo, some super sick resin art going all the way down, and a little alien just to personalize it a little bit. And on the back, super sick resin. Got swirls in the middle and then the black and white kind of splatters. I think it looks super sick. Let's get some pads on this thing. I've got the new 2020 Zap Spark pads. This one is the mint and the black for the tail and the arch bar. And I lined these up. I think they're gonna look pretty sick, kind of matching there, and yeah. So first up, what you're gonna need is some scotch or any type of tape that you can lay down and kind of find the middle of your board. That way your stuff is all centered. Then I've got like a wax marker, China marker it's called. That way I can trace out where I need to put the pads. Some sandpaper, of course, to sand down on a textured deck. If you don't have a textured deck, then you can skip this step. And some cleaner of some sort, nail polish remover, rubbing alcohol, whatever you want to use. And also, you're gonna need a hair dryer to activate the pads. That'll give it the best stick. You don't have to do it, but I recommend it. So the first step, what I like to do is take your tape. I have kind of a thick roll here. You could definitely go thinner, maybe will make it easier. But this is what I've got, this is what I'm going to work with. I'm going to put it directly over the nose, right in the center. Taper it over. Bring it all the way down. Find the middle and the tail. So that for me is going to be the center. It's going to be very similar, or the exact same on your board. Don't think anybody makes asymmetrical skimboards yet. So yeah, that's the first step. Then you're going to want to go ahead and open up your pads, obviously. So I'm going to do that here. Okay. So I really like these new pads. They're thin, they've got a nice grip to them. I really like them. I've ridden on them before when they were kind of prototypes, and I really do love them. So you're going to lay these out. Use your center guideline piece to kind of line them up exactly how you want to do it. I prefer mine to be as far back as possible without going over the rail. That way you don't lose any stick. So put that there. Line this up nice and straight. And you get the arch bar. Place it exactly where you want it on your feet. Okay, so that to me looks pretty perfect. So now you're going to take your wax marker and go ahead and outline where this pad is going to go. I like this wax marker because it's easy to get off rather than using, say, a Sharpie that's not going to come off. Okay, so now I know where this middle piece on the tail pad is going to go. I can move over to either the left or the right. Okay, so now I know where that's going to go. And that. Now we're down to the arch bar. Okay. So that looks perfect to me. Now I've got a nice outline. The next step is going to be your sandpaper. So I'm not going to do this right here. I'm going to do it outside because I don't want the fiberglass being all dusted around in my house. So I have this. This is a $2 pack from Ace Hardware, and it gives me 3 different grit levels. I have a 60, 100, and 150. So I'm going to start with the 60 grit. That's going to be pretty rough on it, but I'm going to do it a little bit lighter. Maybe not go too hard because then you'll scratch your clear coat. Then I'll move on to the 100 grit and kind of go over that, and I'll finish it off with the 150 grit. So I'm going to go do that outside, and I'll be back when that's done. Okay, so as you can see here, I did sand it down. I kind of wiped it down with a towel, a dry towel, just to get most of that excess dust off. As you know, that it's really gonna dust up. So then I'm gonna finish off cleaning it. I've just got this scrap piece of t-shirt. I'm gonna take this alcohol, whatever you wanna use. Kind of just squirt it on there. Take your little cloth and just rub it around in circles, wipe all that excess stuff off. This is gonna make sure you don't have dust in between the pad and the board. So I used a bit much here, but I'm just gonna grab a paper towel and kind of finish drying it off. Okay, so now it's pretty dry, but I want to make sure that it's completely dry, so I'm going to let it sit for about 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes should be enough. You know the alcohol will evaporate quickly, so anything that is still there, kind of in every little crease or so, will evaporate. I'm going to give that 5 minutes, and I'll pick it up then. Okay, so I've let that dry, and now all that's left to do is to put the pads on. Now this wax marker leaves a little bit of an outline for all the pads, so I still have that kind of baseline where I'm gonna put them, which is great. It's all sanded down. When you feel the texture difference, it's crazy. It's super smooth here and really textured here where I didn't sand it. So that's obviously gonna help prevent those little air gaps that are gonna make your pads come back up in a couple days or weeks. So these will really stay nicely. Sanding is very important. So I'm gonna grab my hair dryer or heat gun, whatever you want to use. And what I'm gonna start with is this back middle pad here. And then I'm gonna do the back, and then I can move on to the arch bar and we'll be done. So I'm gonna grab the pad, peel from the top down. Use the hair dryer. Well, that sucks. So that outlet wasn't working. I'm gonna have to use this outlet, which sucks, it's further away, but you're just gonna heat up the glue and place it down. Okay, then really push it down. Make sure all the glue sticks down onto the board. Really push it down, get it to stick, and we're good. We can move on to the next one. So next, you're just gonna pick one of the left or right tail pads, line them up, make sure we're good. Right there. I'm gonna grab one, peel from the top down, and then heat it up with the dryer or the heat gun, whatever you've got. Okay, that's perfect. Now you really want to get on this back part of the tail pad, kind of that corner, really push that down because that seems to be one of the places where most of my pads will lift up. So push the air out of there, that's gonna be a problem for you if you don't. Then proceed with the rest of the pad. Get it all down nice and even. And you're ready to do the next one. Same thing. Top to bottom, heat it up, get the glue going. So one important thing is when you're using that heat gun, you definitely don't want to heat it up too much, otherwise you're going to melt the glue, and all you're really trying to do is to activate it. So don't put too much heat on that. And that looks good to me. Perfect. So next up, just the arch bar. Start with the top one, peel it from top to bottom. Place it down in your lines. And that looks perfect. Place that down, and there we go. The pads are on. So, you can go skim it if you want, but I don't recommend that. I recommend waiting about 24 hours, maybe overnight if you just can't wait to go skim on it, but definitely want to wait a little bit, otherwise you could have some problems. What I like to do is get some water jugs or something with some weight, textbooks, and let it sit overnight with that stuff on, just to get the strongest bond possible with that glue. These little marks around the edges, they're gonna go away after a couple times skimming, so don't worry about trying to rub them off, because then you could mess with the glue on the edges. I hope you all did enjoy. I know I did. I can't wait to ride this thing. Holy cow, that looks sick. So yeah, one more look. Looks real good. Pads are nice and even on there. I'm stoked. I can't wait to ride this thing. So if this video helped you out at all, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and the next video you'll see is probably me skimming this thing, so stay tuned for that.